You're not losing people. It just feels like you are. At first, it's small things. You stop replying as fast. You don't laugh at the same jokes. Conversations that once felt natural now feel forced. And you don't fully understand why. Nothing dramatic happened. No big fight. No clear reason. Just distance. And slowly you start thinking, did I change? Did I do something wrong? Why does everything feel different now? But here's the truth most people don't realize. You're not losing people. You're outgrowing them. And growth doesn't always feel good. Because when you grow, your mindset changes. Things that once excited you no longer do. Conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. You start noticing patterns. Surface-level talk. Repeated habits. The same mindset, over and over again. And suddenly, you don't feel like you belong anymore. Not because you think you're better, but because you're different. And being different is uncomfortable. Because your brain wants familiarity. It wants what feels safe, even if it no longer feels right. So when things start to shift, your mind panics. It tries to pull you back. It makes you question yourself. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe I should just go back to how things were. Maybe I'm the problem. But deep down, you know something has changed. You've started seeing things differently. You've started thinking differently. And once your perspective changes, you can't go back. You begin to notice things you ignored before. The negativity in conversations. The lack of ambition in people around you. The way some people only show up when it benefits them. And it hits you. Not everyone is meant to grow with you. Some people are part of a phase, a version of you that no longer exists. And holding on to them means holding on to that old version of yourself. That's why it feels heavy. That's why interactions feel forced. That's why silence starts to replace conversation. Because your energy is no longer aligned. But here's the hardest part. Growth doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with clarity. It comes with confusion, loneliness, doubt. You start spending more time alone. Not because you want to isolate yourself, but because you can't connect the same way anymore. And that loneliness can trick you. It can make you think, I'm losing everyone. But what you're really experiencing is transition. You're in between versions of yourself. The old one and the new one. And in that space, it feels empty. Because the people who matched your old mindset no longer fit. And the people who match your new mindset haven't arrived yet. So you're stuck in this middle ground. Where nothing feels stable. Where everything feels uncertain. And that's where most people go back. They shrink themselves. They force old connections. They pretend nothing changed. Just to avoid that uncomfortable feeling. But that's the moment that defines everything. Because if you go back, you don't just reconnect with people. You disconnect from yourself. And that's a price most people don't even realize they're paying. So instead of asking, why am I losing people? Ask yourself, am I becoming someone new? Because if the answer is yes, then what you're feeling isn't loss. It's growth. And growth always comes with separation. Not because you're meant to be alone, but because you're meant to evolve. And evolution requires letting go. Even when it's quiet. Even when it's confusing. Even when it hurts. Because the version of you that you're becoming cannot exist in the same space as the version you're leaving behind. And once you truly understand that, everything starts to make sense. So now the real question is, what do you do when you realize you're outgrowing people? Because understanding it is one thing, but living through it, that's where it gets hard. Because growth sounds good in theory, but in reality, it feels like losing connection. It feels like being misunderstood. It feels like standing alone while everyone else seems fine. And that's the moment where most people make a mistake. They go back. Back to old conversations. Back to old habits. Back to people who feel familiar, but no longer feel right. Not because they truly want to, but because they're trying to escape that uncomfortable feeling. Loneliness. Let's talk about that. Because loneliness during growth is different. It's not the kind where no one is around you. It's the kind where people are around, but you don't feel seen. You don't feel understood. And that's a very quiet kind of pain. But here's what you need to understand. That feeling is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is changing. You're no longer connecting at the same level. And that's okay. Because not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people are there to match a certain version of you. And when that version changes, the connection naturally fades. Not because anyone is bad, but because the alignment is gone. And once you accept that, You stop taking it personally. Now here's where things shift. Instead of trying to hold on, you start learning how to let go. Not in a dramatic way, not by cutting people off aggressively, but by quietly creating space. You stop forcing conversations. You stop chasing attention. You stop trying to be understood by people who can't see you clearly. And in that space, something important happens. You start getting closer to yourself. Because for the first time, you're not distracted by constant noise. You're not trying to fit in. You're not adjusting your personality to be accepted. You're just you. And that's where clarity begins. You start understanding what you actually want. What kind of people you want around you. What kind of life you're building. And slowly, you become more selective. Not everyone gets access to your time. Not everyone gets access to your energy. Not everyone deserves to stay close. And that's not arrogance. That's awareness. Because growth isn't just about becoming better. It's about becoming more aligned. And alignment requires boundaries. Now here's something most people don't talk about. When you outgrow people, some of them will notice. And not everyone will understand it. Some will think you've changed too much. Some will feel like you've become distant. Some might even take it personally. But you have to remember, you're not responsible for how others interpret your growth. You're only responsible for being true to it. Because if you keep shrinking yourself, just to keep others comfortable, you'll stay stuck. And deep down, you'll feel it. That quiet frustration. That feeling of not being fully yourself. That sense that you're capable of more, but holding yourself back. And over time, that becomes heavier than loneliness. So instead of fearing distance, start respecting it. Because sometimes, distance is what protects your growth. Sometimes, it's what gives you space to evolve. And sometimes, it's what leads you to the right people. Because the truth is, you're not meant to do everything alone. But you are meant to find people who align with who you're becoming. People who understand you without you having to explain everything. People who challenge you to grow, not keep you the same. And those people, they don't come when you're trying to fit in. They come when you're being real. When you're being honest. When you're no longer afraid to be different. So if you feel like you're losing people right now, take a step back and look deeper. Maybe you're not losing anything. Maybe you're just making space. Space for better conversations, better connections, better alignment, and most importantly, a better version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, growth is not about keeping everyone with you. It's about becoming who you're meant to be, even if that means walking a part of the journey alone. And once you accept that, you stop chasing people and start building your life. If this made you see things differently, subscribe for more videos on psychology, mindset, and human behavior. Because once you understand these patterns, you stop fighting change and start growing with it.